So looking at that from the outside looking in, it's like, how in the world are you even going to do that?
We've talked in the past about the wide range of skills that are necessary to become a good writer. I've been working on an exercise for the past few weeks or so that has really highlighted a bunch of different kinds of skills that I'm recognizing I really need to work on. It's from the Coursera course that I've been taking, and the exercise was to write a short narrative, 600 words, right around there, that has a full beginning, middle, and end of the story and concentrates on very descriptive nouns and verbs.
And to me, that seems extremely overwhelming because I've written scenes that are over 1,000 words. So just an individual scene that doesn't really have a beginning, middle, and end as far as a plot goes. So looking at that from the outside looking in, it's like, how in the world are you even going to do that? So what are the biggest challenges that you're facing currently with that?
It's interesting. It's not about the 600 words. It's not about keeping it small. It is, when I thought about what story could I tell that has a beginning, middle, and end, well, we have our entire book, the whole Beyond the Mold, but that's too big to fit into 600 words. So I looked at the backstory of one of the minor characters that may not even get any screen time, but there's something that in one of the main characters' backstories that this secondary character does. I wanted to tell the story behind that action. So it's a minor character. I haven't spent a lot of time getting into her head. So really the big challenge has been, what is her compelling story? What is the beginning, middle, and end? What change does she go through? And I've had some layers to it, but it's just been hard to get that answer.
Right. And I know from our conversation, I guess, what is your progress on that right now? You've shared a little bit of that with me, how you're coming and getting the story down.
I have gone back and forth. First, it was just start writing. So I tried to write narrative, and I found myself confused about what direction is the story going. So then I said, forget trying to write a good story or trying to write good words. I can't even speak good words right now. So I just focused on get an outline. So I tried to write a story outline, and I ended up with about that much, about over a dozen bullet points that belonged in the story to be able to get everything across. And I have put the first 3.5 bullets into narration and dialogue, and it's about 280 words so far. So I'm almost halfway through my quota and barely got started in the bullets.
So when you look at moving forward, and you're, I guess, about double the rate that you need to be in turning bullet points into words,
maybe even more than that.
Even more than that. Do you think what do you think you're going to end up doing more of? Cutting back on how many bullet points you're actually putting in, or cutting back on how many words you're having for the bullet points?
I think what I imagine is going to happen. Right now, I have several different threads of story that I'm trying to include all at once because they feel very interleaved with each other.
Yeah.
What I will probably end up doing is taking all the bullets, forget that there is even a word quota, write what feels right for each of the bullets. I may shift strategies partway through because it's happened already a number of times that as I'm going through it, I shift the strategy. But I think I will end up writing way overwriting. And I am hoping that through that process that I will learn enough about the story that I want to tell that I'll figure out which of the threads no longer belong. Then I can go back and take out everything that isn't part of the one thread of story that I care to tell.
And I think that's something that could be very helpful, moving from a single short story to the novel as a whole, and being able to, after we're done writing the whole thing, look back at which of these story threads actually belong in the novel, which one of them are distractions from the story that we really want to make sure the focus is on. So being able to do that in a short setting is probably really good practice for getting to that point eventually with our novel as a whole.
Which, as I look back, I mentioned at the very beginning, this exercise has really highlighted a lot of the skills. I am having trouble coming up with a compelling story. I'm having trouble figuring out what makes you care about this character. I've started to care about her, but I haven't been able to figure out how to describe the right details to let anybody else care about her. I haven't yet found the moment that becomes her turning point where she resolves the challenge that she's in. I haven't even really settled on, of all of the different challenges, which is the one that's going to survive into this story.
Do you think there might be multiple of those challenges that survive, or do you think you're going to have to hone it down to just one?
For the 600 words,
right,
I'm going to have to hone it down to just one. And I also suspect that this exercise could then turn into, rather than a short, it could become a short story that is related to the novel that could then be, say, a bonus or some other piece of value that we can give to people.
I feel like we have a couple of scenes that we've written that might fall into that, where I know one of my earlier scenes, we realized that it didn't really fit into any of the timelines that we were going to be portraying in our novel, actually, but it was related to it. So we might end up having a couple things like that.
So if this were a Blu-ray, this would be the deleted scenes.
Yes, the deleted scenes. Well, I look forward to reading your scene or your short story once it is finally down to the right amount, or maybe a couple times between now and then. But I'm sure you're also looking forward to getting done with this project.
I'm even more than I'm looking forward to getting done with the project. I'm looking forward to what I'm learning and the skills that I can develop as a result of going through this project.
Yes.
So my question to you then, those of you who are watching, is what... I have forgotten what the question was going to be. Do you remember what I said the question was going
I think
to be?
It was something like, I'm like it too. But we're talking about the lessons that we're learning.
What is a skill that you want to develop more of? So I highlighted several of the skills that I want to learn. One of the things that I didn't mention was the skill of highlighting verbs and nouns, and the purpose of that within the exercise, to take long descriptive passages and find just the right verb, just the right noun that says a wealth of things. So that was yet another of the skills to develop.
Being more efficient with your words.
Right. So that was one of the skills. So the question for you, and I should have left the script on the screen. My question for you is, what is one of the skills that you would like to develop more? Let us know that in the comments, and we will see you again next week.